All right, we are definitely live right here on Tuesday. You know what we do every Tuesday, Real Talk Tuesday. You can see we got a full screen right here. We have on screen, we have sitting in at the top. I don't know how this is going to play out, but ladies first, Mrs. Moretta Wilson, uh, Williamsburg County Democratic Party Chair, and visiting us tonight is the candidate for the Democratic Party in Georgetown County, District 3 County Council seat, Ernie L. Cooper Sr., and my esteemed host right there, Mayor Frank McClary. How are you all guys doing this evening?
Doing well, sir. How about yourself?
Doing good on this
All is well.
this the beginning of the fiscal year.
All right now.
This is when the fiscal calendar resets, man.
That's right. And it's only happened to be on your birthday, so happy birthday.
Hey, there you go, man.
Happy
I was born to do business.
Happy birthday. I know.
Happy birthday to the businessman on his birthday.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys, and everybody that's been sending. I do appreciate that a lot. But the family was like, going out to eat tonight. Looking at it, y'all know what night it is. It's Tuesday night. Real Talk Tuesday, man. This is my new family. No, I'm joking.
Oh man.
So again, welcome, guys. Listen, it's a sense of apathy in around this election county-wise that I'm sensing. So that's why I'm glad you guys popped back in tonight. I know on the Georgetown County side, it has been quiet. Aside from Mr. Cooper here is the only candidate that let me stop that, because I did speak with what's the young lady for
Sandra Johnson,
for Miss Johnson for the I haven't heard anything from the candidate who's running against the sheriff, and a lot of other candidates. And so tonight, we're gonna, we reached out to a number of different candidates, and somebody ringing my doorbell. A number of different candidates, and here we are tonight. But let's start. Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah, well,
get us started.
Before we, I don't know if we have it queued up. Before we get into the show and talk politics, I would, and probably all of Andrews know that we lost an icon today, Mr. Samson Hughes. Everybody know him, love him, and 90 years young. And I know we all would want him to be around another 90 years, man. But he got his wings today and to be with the Lord. And so I thought it was appropriate that we certainly spend a couple minutes here just talking about this great young man who was a trailblazer in all things. I think anyone at my age or older and younger, Jamal, I know you too.
Oh man, I spent some time in Mr. Hughes's office. Listen, I'm right at the end of the panel, and I was with the corporal, and Mr. Hughes did not spare, but he was fair with it.
He was fair with it.
Very, very, very strong. Before, it was popular to say we're looking for a male black image, a positive male black figure. These guys were just it. Before that was even a cliche. This was that's what they were.
They were doing it.
No doubt.
And Mr. Hughes, again, followed Mr. Joe Thompson as the principal at Rosemary Middle School back in the day, when we all, for me, primary and middle school all right there at Rosemary before we moved over to Andrews High. And again, not only was he principal, he led us in as Boy Scouts. That's the last I've known of the Boy Scouts.
The last Boy Scout. Wow.
Last Boy Scout, man, and,
yes.
and he just, taught us, and not just what he taught us, how he led. We learned through him being a community leader, a man, a husband, the whole 9 yards, man. And also he's, I was very fortunate to enter in the same fraternal organization, Omega Psi Phi, Mr. Hughes, and And so it's just a tremendous loss to the community, but the memories will carry on. He impacted, a lot of folks' lives. And so we're certainly going to miss him, and condolences go out to the family. And we're certainly going to, be here for the family as much as we can here to town as they, travel this very tough road. And so just wanted to make sure we recognize the fact that we have a void in the town here now. Mr. Hughes is passing.
And let me just add, Mr. Mayor, he was one of the great coach of Rosemary High. You had Mr. Coach Ellis Mean, you had Coach David Odom, and then you had Coach Samson Hughes, a tremendous leader to, like you said, probably those particular from the ages probably 62 and up in terms of coaching, a tremendous role model, a coach to Rosemary High School, and a great man, a great community leader. He's going to be missed. Definitely going to be missed.
It's very sad, man. It hits right in the middle, in the heart. I'm telling you, it's a tough time. So, but we'll have more. I think we're going to talk about how we're going to do a special tribute in his honor. Absolutely. And we'll talk with his son Ronald and all that, so we can put something very, very special together.
And just a heads up, if you're somebody that wants to contribute to, because we're going to put something together, and definitely want people to come and share memories, and because it's an icon. You're right. It's definitely a big blow in the community.
Hey, I'm telling you, right up to the, he's, like I said, 90 years old or young, and he was still very active. I remember stopping by to speak with him last year, I believe it was, and maybe 6-7 months ago. And spirit was high, man. And he was like, "Hey, if you need me to come and do something, just let me know." And he was going to get, his care provider and come to the county council meeting and speak on, the ambulance.
on the ambulances. I remember.
Yeah, he said that. And so again, that was who he was, man. And so it's going to be a big loss. So, okay. So as we roll into this thing that we do every Tuesday, this politics, we're happy to have again the Democratic chair for Winsburg County to talk to us a little bit about these, what's happening in the build up to this November 5th election. I'm just happy I'm not I don't have to get out here and campaign during this time, because again, people lose focus when there's a presidential election. You lose focus at the local level and forget that. Council members at the county, state, officials, all those are probably more important, I believe, than right now, the presidential election. And we forget about that, and we sit back and don't get to know these candidates that are running, and we miss out. And sometimes we put, we don't put, the best person in the position. And so we'll turn to Ms. Wilson here now, and she can give us some insights on how things are going. How's the party moving in Williamsburg County, and hopefully next week we'll have Ms. Hemingway, Marilyn Hemingway, on to talk about what's happening in Georgetown County, which certainly impacts, Mr. Cooper as he run again for District 3 here in Georgetown County. So at this time, Ms. Wilson, please.
Thank you, sir. First, I want to say thank you to welcome to Andrews, the podcast, for allowing me to come onto this platform tonight to discuss some things in regards to voting. First, want to give my respects to the Hughes family and their loss. Mr. Hughes, in my career capacity, was very instrumental in me staying and just giving me hope and insight. So I'm just so thankful that I've had the opportunity to experience and meet Mr. Hughes. So God bless his family, and prayers to them during this most difficult time. He's definitely is a champion, and a champion for all things Andrews, but also elections. He was very, very active in getting folks registered, making sure people understood what was happening and when it was happening. And that is something that I will take with me as a memory. And so in his honor tonight, certainly want to push forward what we need to do in this last week. The last day to register to vote is Friday, October the 4th. Please, ma'am, please, sir, make sure that you check your registration status. You can go to scvotes.org. You can check your address, update your address if you need to. Register if you're going to be 18 before November 5th. You can register by midnight on October the 4th. You want to make sure that we get as many hands on deck out there. We have some QR codes that we pass out to communities so folks can just scan it with their phones. To get the information, it pops right out for them so they don't have to go through a whole lot of the paper form and worrying about, did it get to the office in time? That registration happens in real time. So be sure to check all the little nuances. Sometimes you might have, don't think about the move. Folks don't update their driver's license. So we just want to make sure we're moving in that vein. And in Hemingway this week, Chavis AME Church will be hosting registration hours. They started today, and it'll just be 1 hour for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. And their address is 2793 South State Highway 4151. Again, Chavis AME Church. And this is hosted by community members and church members there to get that last push in, because the numbers are imperative. And once we get you registered, we need you to get out there to actually vote. There are over 500,000 infrequent voters in the state of South Carolina. There are over 163,000 in the 6th Congressional District, and that's where Williamsburg sits. That's Congressman Clyburn's district. So those numbers make a difference. If you focus on what we don't have the numbers to support what we're seeking. So numbers never lie. They speak volumes. You are your best champion for what happens or fails to happen in your community. Making sure you understand what's under whose purview, what's under the state level, what's under the local level. And when you break down the local level, you're talking about from the county down to the municipalities. How do these particular things function, and who gets paid attention to? People who actually show up. There's power in numbers. So whether you're showing up to meetings, showing up to the ballot box, those numbers count. When you're looking for needs in your roads, and we always have complaints about roads, 90% of the roads in South Carolina are owned by the state. How are you going to get your state officials to pay attention to you? You have the numbers to support to say that this is a community that votes. This is a community that has a voice, and it cannot be ignored and will not be ignored. So that's the position that we have to take when we're going to the ballot box. So many people say why. There's so many reasons why you need to make sure you're present and doing what you need to do. Don't allow someone else to do the thinking for you. Don't allow someone else to make the decisions for you because you did not show up. And that's what people always say. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. No, they do what you allow them to do because you don't show up for yourself. So we want to make sure, please, ma'am, please, sir, again, October the 4th is the last day to register to vote in the state of South Carolina. And once you get registered to vote, well, what you have on the screen now, that's what I normally do monthly. We send this information out, letting folks know what's happening throughout the county on the municipal level and on the county level. So you have every town meeting, you have the 2 county meetings per month, and you have your school board meeting. So that's a full schedule. Follow us on Facebook. It's Williamsburg County Democratic Party. You'll see this information posted monthly, or you can sign up for our email list, and the email is at the top of that flyer, and you get information in real time as the state provides us with updates. So as we continue to move into the voting areas, there are 3 ways in which you can vote. That's the absentee ballot, that's early voting, and then regular election day. What I have listed here are the ways in which a person qualifies to get an absentee ballot. And there are a number of ways to qualify, and you can request that ballot right now. If you're a college student, if you're going to be on vacation during your regular election time and won't be available during the early voting period, go ahead and request that ballot. If you have been or are aware of somebody that has been arrested and they're pending trial, and their trial date won't be before election day, they can get an absentee ballot. If you know already that you'll be working, if you're a caregiver for someone who is disabled, in military, there are just a number of ways. This checklist is on our Facebook page of which you can request your absentee ballot. Early voting. There are 2 locations in Williamsburg County. The first is at J.J. Mitchum in Hemingway. The second is at the Alex Chapman Auditorium in King Street. The voting period is October 21st through November 2nd. It is closed on October 27th, which is that Sunday. The early voting times are 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. each day of early voting. And then, of course, the grand finale, which is election day. If you've missed those other opportunities, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at your regular precinct on election day. But we have to get this out here. We have to understand the importance. It's not about just the presidential election. You have to make sure you have the right representation on your local level. There are seats that are under attack in the General Assembly right now. And we need to ensure that those individuals get back in the seat so that they can do the work for the citizens of South Carolina. There are so many things that have not been pushed forward. The hate crime bill for South Carolina has yet to be passed. We're one of only 2 states in the nation that have not passed the hate crime bill. That's South Carolina and Wyoming. If you let Alabama, Mississippi, and all of these other southern states that have had such egregious hate crimes to happen, and we've had Senator Clementa Pinckney, who was a colleague of those in the General Assembly, gunned down in his church with his parishioners, and we've yet to pass a hate crime bill. That is a disservice not only to his legacy, but is a disservice to the citizens of South Carolina. And we have to make sure we have the right individuals in place to take care and show us that they care about us and pass this bill. There's so many things that have happened and so many frivolous bills that have been discussed during the last cycle that's unnecessary. That's wasting a lot of time, and we need to make sure we get these things to move forward. We need the right individuals on our congressional level. We've yet to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. We've yet to pass the George Floyd Act. All of these things are imperative and affect us greatly. How are we going to be remembered? We have to plant the tree now that we won't ever get shade from. We have to stop worrying about what we can get now and make sure that we understand that we're preparing for the future. And if we want a brighter future for those who are behind us, those children, your grandchildren, whoever, you have to start making those decisions now. And if you don't understand that, I don't understand what is holding you back from that. And not asking about your specific political affiliation. It's about the action to make sure that some great things happen for our communities, our state, and our nation. And lastly, we have our headquarters hours. We do that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at our location in King Street. That address is 114 West Main Street. And again, those hours are from 2 to 6 p.m. That's an outline of the hours or the folks who will be hosting the hours between where we started in September and will conclude the last week of October. If you want to participate in phone banking, canvassing, passing out information, setting up any type of voter awareness drives, we welcome the efforts. Nobody should have to say, oh, I want you to do this. Michelle Obama, former First Lady Michelle Obama stated during the DNC, don't ever wait for somebody to come directly to you to ask you to do something. We have to stop that. If you have it in you to do it, then do it. If you're sitting back saying about what somebody else or what some organization isn't doing, then that's your opportunity to do what you think somebody else should be doing. We have too much to accomplish instead of worrying about what somebody isn't doing and putting forth the effort to get it done. This is the time, and this is critical like none other. So we're looking forward to everybody participating, but we're looking forward to you bringing fresh ideas to get these youth involved. And really, you don't have the problem with those turning 18 or between 18 and 20. The apathy starts about 25 to 40. How do we capture those individuals? I'm not sure, but it affects you, because when you get to that 50, that 60, that 70, that 80 years of age, this is the seed you're planting right now. What are you going to do? How are you going to make a difference? How are you going to stop blaming somebody else for what's happening in your community and make sure that you're getting what's due? And it's overdue in a lot of communities. So that's the end of what I have to say. I wanted to get in and get out because I know that the vice president debate is happening at 9:00. So I wanted to get that information out as quickly as possible in regards to what we have going on and what we're trying to push forward.
Okay, just a couple of questions, and I agree with you, because we all should be listening to see what's happening there. But again, the importance of what happens at my level, at the municipality and the county, county and state, as you just kind of lay it out, is important. So, are there any hot contested races in Williamsburg County right now? Or does anyone have any opposition?
The only person who has opposition is Congressman Clyburn.
That doesn't seem fair, because he's
and
you know me mops those guys. So who sent it? Who's out there?
So only person's name we need to be concerned with is Congressman Clyburn. We won't even be worried about the opposition, but we do need to get out there to support him. He's been a champion for Williamsburg County and the state and the nation. And he just recently got $13.5 million for the city of Lake City for a storm drain issue. He helped get some funding for the Murdaugh Senior Center in King Street. He's been doing things on this level since I can remember, and we're thankful for his service. We're thankful for those long-standing champions, and we have to make sure we stand behind him as he prepares to get someone else to replace him. But we cannot let the work that he's done go by the wayside, and the value that he has on the national spectrum, because there's so many things that happen, and he's kind of the godfather, in my opinion, on the national level and the state level.
Okay, so 13.5 million to where? Lake City?
City of Lake City, storm drain project.
Here's my business card. Tell him give us a call down here in Andrews.
Hey, when I heard storm drain, I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
Hey,
correct.
We'll be knocking on his door. So if he's that kind of guy, guys, go out and support. Now, I want everybody to know this is a nonpartisan platform. We invite Republican and Democrat here so we can have these conversations. And so we open. I want to make that clear. But tonight, really, we have Democratic candidate, a candidate, and a party chair. So that's what will be a focus for right now for these few minutes. There was one other, so I wanted to straight ticket. So tell me
one thing too.
Yes,
District 57, Lucas Atkinson, he does have Republican opposition. I'm not sure of his opponent's name, but he was the person after the redistricting with the 2020 census. Carl Anderson used to represent a portion of Williamsburg County. That changed, the lines were redrawn, and now that gentleman has that area. So he has gotten some funding for some local communities in Hemingway,
Stuckey and
Smith and Bloomingville.
Yes,
and he did. So we want to make sure that we keep that in mind, but he does have opposition.
Yeah, you know what I like about Atkinson when I met him? He understands the mission. He ain't cutting no corner. Atkinson is like, listen, my job is to go up there and get money and bring it back to y'all. My man.
What are your questions? All right, so that's good. So let me, again, because a little bit different here in Georgetown County, because there's so many things on the ballot that can be very confusing to the people. I'm not sure that Williamsburg County has all these additional questions on the ballot that has to be anything unique. Just a quick your perspective on any straight party voting. Just give us your thoughts on that, ma'am.
I may get in trouble, but I love for people to pay attention to each name that's on the ballot. Sometimes we get confused with information that's on the ballot. Yes, we would prefer straight party ticket, but make sure you're understanding, you research your candidates first. Don't just go in there and just hit the button and not understand who you voted for, because in 5 months, you're going to be complaining about something and you need to know who to address that to. So I just want voters to be more educated in the process. Yes, we may want you to make that selection, but remember the selection that you made. Research what position does what and what they are responsible for in your community and how you can leverage that information to get your needs met. So don't just go there and vote. I want you to be an informed voter. So I don't want, senators and representatives may get mad. You told them to come look for me. Yes, because I don't want them to go outside and say they're doing this and they're doing that. And then when I ask you, who are they? You can't tell me who they are. I want you to be specific and what your request and your need may be, and be specific and who you are insisting is responsible. But you're ultimately responsible for seeking the information.
Okay. Well, thank you, ma'am. Again, we appreciate you coming on and sharing all this knowledge about what's happening in Williamsburg County. And again, the dates that was put out here, folks, is for all of us across this state. So get locked in. Last few days to get registered. The 4th of October is the last day. So let's not wait, because you lose your vote, you lose your voice. And so let's not let that happen. You can do that several ways. I'm sorry.
Pardon me. I believe you all have spoken on this before, but if you've not voted in the last 2 major elections, you have been purged from the rolls.
Yeah, because you said something that you gave a figure on a large number about, and you gotta kind of, if you would unpack that a little bit, because people will go, all emotional. Oh, I'm registered to vote, not understanding that they haven't voted in the last couple of election cycles. That's why we're saying to you now, go and check your status.
Yes.
But can you unpack that number of you said it was like 500,000,
over 500,000 in the state of South Carolina alone that are infrequent voters. So you think about that and the difference it would make, regardless, like I said, of whatever your party lines are, but the difference that would make if you can show force with your numbers. In Congressman Clyburn's district, the district in which Williamsburg sits, 163,000 infrequent voters. So we've been doing phone banking to reach out to the individuals in Williamsburg County that are listed as infrequent voters, trying to make them aware of what they need to be doing so they don't run into any issues or concerns. And that becomes the main issue sometimes at the precincts. People want to get into arguments and they want to be upset, but we want to make sure we relieve a lot of that angst before November the 5th. And don't leave your voting location. Do a provisional ballot. Don't leave unless you can, get that in there so they can verify you after the election cycle. But do what you must to make sure your vote counts. But like you said, that's a large number.
Yeah,
500,000 people.
You can that freaks me out, because knowing how these local elections come down to 20, 30 votes, like,
Yep.
Okay, there's no reason why. I mean, there's no reason why with those kind of numbers. There's no reason why South Carolina should go red every year. Now, we're not partisan over here, but
I saw that when I said that he adjusted in his chair. We're balanced. We're balanced.
We know
we're fair and balanced over here. We do what Fox would not do. You see what I'm saying? And that's where I am with it, because my ticket is all over the place, because especially when I can get, and you like you said, I know who I can go blame. I know who I'm voting for, and okay, this is what you're saying you're gonna do. All right, cool. I can hold you to that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's that number of. I foresee there's going to be a bunch of It's gonna be some tension now. It's gonna be some tension at the poll, and it's gonna be they racist. They know you're not prepared. You haven't done what you were supposed to do. So it's gonna get crazy.
It. People love to say like I said, you're gonna do what you want to do. Well, if you want to change the game, you got to play the game.
Yeah.
So you got to know how the game is played, and then if you want to change it, then you get in there, you run for office. You help make some of this, legislation and all of these type of things to get things so set the way you want to. Well, don't just because you think that means it should be so. Protocol and procedure exists for a reason. They have code of laws for the state of South Carolina for a reason. But that does not mean they can't be changed. But you need to understand it and understand how you go about change. And that's how you make a difference. And the other point that I forgot to make about the ballot and straight ticket, you have some positions that are nonpartisan, like school board. So you will miss your school board seats if you just hit straight party ticket. We always have soil and conservation and all these other commissioners and things of that nature. Those are nonpartisan. So you need to be researching and understanding, what do these positions even mean? How do they affect me, in my daily life? So take the time to figure that out, but make sure that you're looking at every individual on that ticket and making sure that you're not missing a vote. Because a lot of times you look at the voting numbers and you'll see that, in this category, there were 1,000 people. But when you got to this level, down to these questions, there were only 200 people. So make sure you go through your ballot line by line so you don't miss a thing.
So what I'm hearing is, and again, to be informed is to understand all of these things that Ms. Wilson is talking about here. So I can see, and you're not going to get any help at the poll because it's too late. Then you go in there to vote. So I encourage us to say that through the our churches, whatever other organization, D9 is out there. Let's spend some time understanding all these nuances when it comes down to voting, so people will be clear. Because a lot of folks who, especially if they're not accustomed to voting, this will scare them out of there, and they won't do what they need to do again to have their voices heard. So, okay, any final thoughts before we move down a little bit closer to the Georgetown County and talk to Mr. Cooper?
Just again, voting is your birthright. We're talking about, so much about the civil rights movement and things of that nature, but it is your birthright. The Civil Rights Act was put into place to make sure that you didn't have all of this voter suppression happening. And that's what purging you from the rolls is. That's voter suppression. So we need to make sure that we understand that if somebody's trying to take something away from you, then it has to be valuable. Nobody tries to take away nothing from you. Nobody tries to prevent you from doing nothing. So we need to know that it is, in fact, powerful, and that we have to make the necessary steps to make action, take action, do action. We have to be about the business of getting things done and not about the business of complaints. If you don't have any solutions to the complaint that you have, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Because how are you going to move anything forward if all you do is sit on the sidelines? We don't need spectators. We need individuals who are active in the community. And you don't have to be an elected official to make that happen. You need to be a voice in your community and understand that, again, there's power in numbers. Rapper Jay-Z once said, "We don't believe you, you need more people." So we need more people, and we need to believe you and show that you are worth more than what has been happening in the past. And let's stop living in the past. Let's stop saying that this is the way it's always been done, because you're going to get what you always got, which is nothing. And you deserve everything. Thank you.
No doubt.
Okay, well, thank you, ma'am. And we certainly, I think we're going to probably have more of these type of conversations as we move closer to the election time. Again, we're going to have to remind people, those who miss the key date of October 4th, we still have to reach those who are registered, and we want to get them out to the early voting. So we'll continue to kind of do these kind of platforms. So appreciate your time and the information. And I know Mr. Cooper absorbed all of that, and he now, he's ready to go out and just make things happen here because he had these critical dates. So again, thank you, ma'am. Have a good night. Enjoy the debate. Mr. Cooper.
Yes, sir.
Sir, how you doing there? I see we got you do, sir, have opposition.
I do. I
Yes,
do.
sir.
And but first and foremost, let me say I'm glad to be here tonight. And just want to say to also Mr. Richardson, happy birthday to him. Mr. Mayor, I'm glad to be here and address any concerns or questions that we have. And also to Georgetown County. Georgetown County, I'm just glad to be a part of this great county and just glad to see and just expecting great things as of November the 5th. We believe good things going to happen for us.
Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Jamal, anything before I take this thing to the next step here with Mr. Cooper?
No, I want to applaud you for continuing. You didn't do the I'm just going to be a fake politician thing. You've kept your feet, on the ground. You've been visiting communities. A lot of it hasn't been done, in the public eye, but I've been getting the word that you've been out, putting the work in on the ground, and I think that's important for the people. That's the only way you're going to know how to serve the people's need when you get to Georgetown County, and so I commend you in that regard.
I'll tell you, I missed one thing to ask Ms. Wilson. As
thank you so much.
Yeah, as a party chair, when you get this, you get through the primary. Of course, that's in-house fighting. People fighting for the seat. And then once we get to this point, now we are in the general election phase of this thing. How do they bring the party together? And I'm saying and asking that now, I'm putting it out there because in your case, Mr. Cooper, you defeated Mr. Everett Carolina in a runoff election. And so when we get to speak to Mrs. Marilyn Hemingway, my question is going to be now, is that the voters for Mr. Carolina, have they now rallied as a party to ensure that those votes are coming to you? Because again, that's very important. It's head to head now. And so, and as we mentioned early on, I haven't seen a whole lot of activity in the county with other candidates. Maybe that's their strategy. I don't know. I've seen your signs, seen them populating throughout the, and I know, as Mr. Richardson said, I know you're on the ground out here, still going door to door and trying to, reach out to the people and for them to get to know you. But I'm interested in how that party is coming together. We saw the demonstration of what's happening in Williamsburg County. What's happening? What are you getting from your party?
Great question, Mr. Mayor. I want to be able to say the party, the Democratic Party, I really see us coming together as a whole. I'm getting great support around the district, the party as a whole, and we actually coming together and saying, at the end of the day, we're one party, and we're going to continue to work strongly as a party. And since the June the 25th, it's just been, from my perspective, it's been very positive for our party, and it's been a team effort, and we're on the ground, and we're winning people along the way, and certainly, I know during the primary, of course, everyone didn't vote for me, but after the primary, June the 25th, we won some people in our party. Our party has come together. And for the betterment of the party, I see us coming together in Spring Gully. I see us coming together in Santee, Sanpit, all of those communities. So I've seen a tremendous change, and I'm confident that the party is coming together to make things work.
But and that said, and again, where I sit is nonpartisan, but for you, it's not just, and this is a question, is it just about the party or is it about the people? And depending on how you answer that, what are we doing now to reach and to speak with those that are not a part of the Democratic Party?
One of the things that we're doing, the county chair, Ms. Marilyn, what we're doing as a whole every candidates of the Democratic Party. We're put together dough hangers. We've had fundraisers together, and we've been meeting together as a party. We've been dealing with some of the things that's going to be on the ballot in terms of the taxes. So we're saying, hey, I can see unity there, Mr. Mayor, certainly. I've definitely seen the unity from the party, and I'm excited about from what the chairperson, Ms. Marilyn Hemingway, is doing to help us move in the right direction.
Okay. The other part of my question is that what are you doing to reach your citizens, your constituents that are from the Republican Party or independents, everybody else? Because again, as I followed you and I supported you during your campaign, you said this is about the people, and so the people is all of them. But what are those efforts that you're doing now to win over any of your Republican constituents?
The effort that as we're going out, we're putting dough hangers out, we're knocking on doors. The effort is that we're at the end of the day, we're nonpartisan. There's over 60,225 registered voters in Georgetown County. In my district, District 3, there's 5,542 registered voters. So to those voters, I want them to know the effort is that at the end of the day, I'm nonpartisan. I'm here to help the people as a whole. I have a heart for the people, not just, my party, but I feel the effort is making people aware of who Elder Ernie Cooper is and what we would like to do once we're given the opportunity.
Okay, yeah, and again, that's important. When all of this is done after November 5th, it's about the people, because flooding doesn't just flood in, in a Democratic, party person's house. And so I understand, like in Lambertown, that was one of the things that I expressed, and I don't know if you had an opportunity to continue that conversation with the folks there, but there's flooding, and there's flooding going on all over the place, Andrews all over. But specifically, that was mentioned, and then there's also the repairs and the upgrades of the docks, the boat landings, I should say, in Lambertown. So again, Sanford has asked for, say, hey, we've been crying. We what about some upgrades to our park? What about the public, utilities that they want there, water and sewer, that they want. So anything you wanted to. Anything specific you want to add to those topics that, again, some of the concerns in those areas?
What I would like to say, based on those with the flooding, with the drainage, infrastructure, certain things that we have in those areas. First and foremost, we want to work with those that are a part of our chairman. We want to work with those that's already a part of the councilman and work closely and seeing that the effort, the things that need to be done, we will do our very best to push forward. We will be a voice for the people. And I want to express that again, being representative to be a voice for the people. And that's one of my primary goals, is the effort to see that we can do the necessary things that we can to make sure things are carried out and things are done orderly and properly.
Yeah, I think that's a key point you mentioned, because a lot of times, if we think that a single person on that whatever government body it is, in this case the county, can make things move by themselves. So it's very important that you just mentioned working along with your counterparts, the other 6 council members, to make things happen. So it's just not because there's one pot of money, and where it goes, it will be a majority vote. And so I think that's something that is not on the forefront of any discussion that's being had. So when they look at Ernie Cooper, the rep for District 3, they think you can do it all, but that's not how it works. So you're going to have to be a team player, build relationships, obviously, Have you had an opportunity to talk to any of the city members right now?
Yes, I have. I had an opportunity, and what I really expressed, and you've said one of the things of the team player. I've always been a team player, Mr. Mayor, and everywhere I've gone, I've been a team player, and I will continue to be a team player. And one of the things that my strength, I believe, is being a cohesive listener. You have to listen to the concerns of the people, and that's one of the things that I will bring to the table as working with the team, listening to what are our concern, and what do we do together as a team to help the people of Georgetown County, not just District 3. I want to reinforce that again. I will be a representative of District 3, but I plan to work and see that the whole county is helped, whatever means necessary to help the entire county.
Mr. Richardson, anything? Because I know, again, you've been as close to politics as I have been here for the last several years, and you obviously have an interest in what happens in Andrews. This is home for you. Anything?
Yeah, I'm again, I'm interested in. I just want the people to know, because again, a lot of candidates, aside from just a few that we mentioned, are actually getting, and maybe they're doing it and I'm just not seeing it. So let me preface it with that. But this is a very, very important election. I know it becomes cliche over time, and so I hope everybody's doing everything they're supposed to be doing to inform themselves as to what is on this ballot that's in front of you. This is a sample ballot from Georgetown County, and as you can see on page 2, there's a novel over there. So you know what I mean? How many people are going to actually sit there and take time to read that? My question would be, have you been getting much questions about the capital project sales tax? And I know you know about as much as we know, as far as because you're not in actually in council as of yet. But have you been getting any questions about where these projects are on the list, as far as, like, I know Sanford and Lambertown? Have you been getting any questions about that?
Great question, and I have, and what I've done to sort of answer those questions, I've made sure I've done my homework instead in terms of researching, following the county council, following Mr. Ackerman, and getting as much information. And when I have a meeting, I sort of invite Mr. Ackerman and some of the others to come in and continue to explain the importance of, those project, the sale taxes that's coming up, and we're learning together as we go along. But certainly, I'm for it. If I'm given the opportunity, but the questions that I've been asked about it, how will it help us? And Mr. Richardson, I say it's a no-brainer, because I look at where we are right now versus the opportunity it will bring to help us and helping the county. I certainly, and those are some of the questions that have been asked of me. Is it something that we see is going to be a help? And I certainly believe that it will be, with the needs of the what we're looking at, whether it's a sewer, where we're looking at drainage problem, what we're looking at, so infrastructure. I look at it to be a great help to our county.
Well, and that's and I believe you to be the man to get up there and do your part on behalf of the citizens of District 3 in that regard, because that's my apprehension with I think the capital project sales tax is a great economic driver for a county, a city, to raise the funds to do these large projects to help the overall quality of life. Now, in the Georgetown County's case, in the past, the folks that were there, that were sent there to do it, they just didn't do what they want, and that's what we're depending on from you. So you know what I mean. That's that's a key factor in whether or not I support. Because again, I'm looking at the project. I think they did a good job on it. You know, I can say that even though they did a horrible job in the past, they, you know, but that's what we expect from.
Yeah, and I'll just caveat to that too is that and this is what I caution Mr. Cooper. You know, stay focused on the 2024 capital project sales tax effort, but understand the history. But we have that fight, and I think that's probably where some of the folks on the other side will say, well, you know, you're working for the town. No, we have a municipality and a council that governs here. We will fight that battle. You stay focused. I mean, obviously, you got the entire district to be concerned with, and the county. We will fight that fight. But what we ask and expect not only of you, but the others is to follow the rules.
Fair representation.
Yes, sir.
Representation. That's, I think, you know, that's what everybody asking those who we send forward to represent on their behalf. Here, myself. And that's what people are going to hold you accountable to. We're not asking to go in and fight the 2014 Capital Project Sales Tax Act. We're not asking that. That's it. That's where it's going to be. It's in the, you know, in the courts, and we'll deal with that. But it will be to your advantage and everybody else to understand the path and the past as it pertains to both of these things. And I agree. I'm in full support of it. That and the local option sales tax. Full support, but it has to be done right and managed properly. So that's going to be some of your challenges. And I think as you go along on your campaign trail, the more you can learn, and by taking Mr. Ackerman with you, that's great, because again, you're not in the middle of it in the development, so you're not going to know all that there's to it. So a smart man will bring
absolutely
somebody with him. So that's a great move.
A smart move. You know what I mean? Hey, ask him, because that you know what I mean. Instead of getting yourself into, you know, trying to just answer a question just to please somebody's ears. Nah, you know, here's the horse. It's coming out of his mouth. I'm not calling you a horse, Ackerman. Good, you know, good dude.
And if you take that's a great move. So yes, sir.
Yeah, and thank both of you, and certainly that has been my primary goal or assignment each time that I meet with the people, is to keep them informed, keep them educated as where we are, what we have in front of us, and the importance of making a right choice. But also, when I bring Mr. Ackerman, when they come along, they're bringing concrete information, and I believe one of the key goals is keeping people educated so they know where we are, what we're up against, and continue to keep them moving forward in the right direction of what we have before us on November the 5th.
Yes, sir. And I think the other part too, you know, for folks to understand too, again, as you represent the district, obviously you live in Andrews, there are a lot of things that Andrews should have. And I say that because we have over 2,000 students that go to school here. Not all of those students come from the city or the town of Andrews. They come from Osita, Sanford, Santee, Big Dam, and some across the county line. So when we fight for resources, we fight for the ambulance. It's fighting for all these people who come here to go to school, participate in athletic events, and in some cases they go to church here. So we have to have that infrastructure in place. So don't think that I will lay our responsibility, on your shoulder alone. That's our job to push that. But then there's a requirement for you and the other rep to understand what those needs are that we're really fighting for, and to support us in that effort. But in terms of governing, that's our business here.
Yeah, and Mr. Mayor, with that being said, and certainly my whole heart and mind, the importance of the infrastructure here in Andrews, and like when I go across the county, around the county, I'm just making them aware that not just Andrews or not just Lambertown, Graves Station alone, but every particular area. As I made mention earlier, There's 5,525 registered voters. So my job will be, along with the others, is to make sure we're doing everything possible to meet the needs of the Georgetown County. And we certainly want to be able to do that and do it well.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Hopefully, things will work out. We know it is. We're going to be pushing on this end and all the way around, because we didn't just wanted you to get across the primary hump. We need you in this seat, and I'm not bashful to say who I support, but you
Thank you.
I will not put my responsibility on your shoulder or anybody else. So keep pushing, and I know we'll see you out there on the campaign trail. Mr. Richardson, anything else for Mr. Coop?
That's it, sir. You know what I mean? If you need me, just reach out to me, give me a call. Let's this last we get down to 35 days now.
35 days, yes, sir.
35 days. And you got to be registered, guys, by October 6th, October 5th. 4th. Oh,
yeah. 4th.
So you talking
Friday, right?
2 days.
It's Friday.
Talking 3 days. 3 days tomorrow and 2 more days. So make that happen. You don't have to go anywhere. Pull your phone out. Go to scvotes.gov. Make it happen.
Okay. I'd just like to make mention of this real briefly. This Thursday, October the 3rd at 6 p.m., I will be at the Sampit Library, better known as the Southern Library in Sampit, and I'll have some registration form. I'll be there with some registration form, so feel free to come. Those that would like to come and register on the spot right there on Thursday, October the 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Sampit Library. And look forward to seeing you there. I would like to give a big shout out to Mr. Richardson. Thank you for having me here tonight. Mr. Mayor, appreciate. And I'm ready to go to work, Georgetown County. I'm ready to go to work.
All right. You definitely demonstrated that, sir. So keep pushing. Just know that you got some force behind you to help you get through this thing, and we know you're going to do well for the entire district and the county. So best of luck to you, and we'll see you out there on the trail.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you both.
All right. So that's us for the night. I see the debate going on behind you there, sir. I'm gonna go and dive into that and see what I can glean from that. So
yeah, I just wanted to say too, obviously there's the state of South Carolina, North Carolina, and others. I think some in Georgia and possibly Florida was affected by this last tropical storm, and some places just devastated. Ashland, I think it's Ashland, North Carolina.
Asheville.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Asheville, North Carolina. So what we're doing here is 2 efforts ongoing in Andrews, and we'll see if we could, bring both of them together to bring, to get resources to get to these places of need. What we're doing from the town perspective in concert with Mrs. Joyce Hudson, we have a truck coming in, one of the food bank trucks coming in on us Friday. We will get those things, repackage them into smaller boxes for families, and then move those wherever in the state to assist with the food shortage. I'll have to talk with Commander J-Ro down with the American Legion to see exactly what they're doing. I know there's an effort in that respect for this purpose. But the town of Andrews, and again with Ms. Joyce Hudson, who's just phenomenal leader here in the community, the things that she's doing is helping us to get those resources. She's also providing a truck, and I think we'll have the primary mover. And there's some volunteers that's going to help us repackage those things and then move them out on Friday. So that's happening. And we want people to know about it. Anybody want to volunteer to come out, please contact us at the town or Ms. Joyce Hudson and let her know, and we'll give you the rest of the information. But that's what's happening right now. And again, our prayers go out to all of those that were greatly affected. Andrews, again, had power outage, some trees down. In fact, in some respect, the Spectrum cable is still out. I know because I'm watching football games on my iPhone, so that's not good. But the power is back, and we're all safe. And so that's what's happening out there.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, pray for those up there in Asheville. I was talking to my daughter's dentist today, and her and her family usually visit Asheville a lot up there. She said the Biltmore community. I guess the Biltmore house is still good, but she said the community is a Biltmore village or something around it. It's completely wiped out. And then a lady from the school nurse, her son house is destroyed by mudslides up there. So it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I say the roads, it's going up in the mountains. Half of it is, it's disappeared.
Yeah.
It's going to change. I mean, this is similar to Hugo, I believe, in terms of the impact that this came through, and I could tell it was something different about this wind, because when it gusted, it was very high and just devastating. Unfortunately, there are 3 more out there they're tracking right now. I think it's Joyce, Isaac, and Kurt that are moving towards the East Coast. So it's not over yet.
Yep.
And that's all I have. And shout out to former President Jimmy Carter, 100 years old today.
Hey! You notice who we said we share the same birthday, man.
I know. That's his greatness, man. You're Jimmy Carter.
Peanut Man. I was looking. My son gave me this book about. It's just kind of it's having you kind of lay out your life, and I was looking at the year I was born. That was the year of Watergate. It was a lot of political things. I'm like, I came under the political moon or something. But,
hey, think about 1963.
Yeah. Well, that was Vietnam, right?
Yeah. Well, in terms of politics and the assassination, it was a lot going on right around.
Absolutely, yeah, a lot of political assassinations, a lot of political, and in 72, that's when the last ground troops came home from Vietnam.
Yeah,
which would be 52 years ago. So
you look at what's happening right now to attempted assassination, or you got wars going on in the Middle East. You got Israel.
Man, we got to do that. History. We got to do that. World War III is upon us. Do you think we're gonna get involved?
We're gonna have to. I think the political pressure. We're gonna have to now that Iran is launching.
Rockets. They launching. I thought they just like whatever. Let's do it.
I mean, it's like fireworks coming towards Israel, man. And I don't know the impact. I haven't followed it close today, but of course, there's pressure on throughout the country for us to get more involved. And I don't think we'll ever put ground troops out there. But and yeah, it's a mess. The Middle East is always going to be a hot spot.
Always.
That's my last duty assignment. There in Kuwait, and the people, geographically, if you look and you can Google it, where we have American troops in Kuwait, and all that's happening around it. You look at what's happening in Jordan, Egypt, Syria, Iraq, Iran,
a hotbed right
Afghanistan. There. It is. That's why I tell them when folks go and serve their country and take this kind of risk, man, you just don't understand the sacrifice that happens, because many times, we're just sitting there in the hot spot, and I think we still have troops at various levels in almost 200 countries in this world, at various states, training, doing operations. So to your question, we will be involved. We are involved.
Yeah. Yep.
Whether it's providing support through arms or training.
I think we get our hands dirty on this one.
I won't say.
I think we get our hands dirty on this one for sure.
Yeah, so we got some fighters out there, man, and support system that's deeply involved and been there for a long time. Just don't get talked about on the open source.
No doubt.
So let's keep everybody in prayer, man, and hopefully this thing here will calm down a little bit before it escalates. But it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse. Nature.
All right. Well, listen, I'll check in with you later this week here. I'm going to go and watch the rest of this debate here and have me a few birthday drinks.
All right. But again, celebrate. Happy birthday to you, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
All right, bro.